Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. So we're just 6 days away from the Andor series dropping, and there's certainly a lot more hype than there was a few months ago. We're all anticipating the expansion of what a lot of fans are calling the Rogue One universe. Disney Plus and Star Wars social media accounts have certainly been promoting the show a lot more aggressively, and just a few hours ago we got an exclusive clip which shows Cassian going to his on and off girlfriend Bix for help. We've now had numerous random clips for the show, and at this point, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of fans when I say, I'm just ready for the show to drop, just give it to us. Just under a week to go. But today, my dear Mandalorians, our main news is for the Mandalorian. Notably, Katee Sackhoff, who plays Bo-Katan, said that she knows how many seasons the show's gonna be, and she even teased Jon Favreau's plan for what the Mandalorian is leading to, the endgame so to speak. Now before we get into this, it's worth noting that the idea of a Mandalorian endgame is nothing new. Even the other day, if you remember, I put out my theory that the Mandalorian is leading to a Grysk war that's going to involve all of our allies, including Thrawn, who I believe is working with Ezra. And in a new interview with Variety, it seems like this is what Katee's hinting at. And stay tuned because afterwards, we're going to be discussing new comments made by Pedro Pascal and Rick Famuyiwa. So no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. It's a question fans have been wondering since the Mandalorian Season 2 finale, just how long is this show going to run on for? But one point of speculation that's really relevant here is that it's probably leading to some sort of climactic event, and it's widely believed this is going to be in the form of a Mandalorian movie. Now it's been some time since fans got an update on the future plans of the Mando-verse. We did get updates at Celebration, the teaser trailer for Season 3 at D23 Expo, but now, thanks to Bo-Katan actress Katee Sackhoff, we do have something of an update for the future. So first things first, Katee said an ending to the Mandalorian is planned. But before we start panicking, Katee Sackhoff confirmed she'd not only been told how many seasons the show's going to be, but also that Star Wars fans are not going to be lacking for Mando content anytime soon. That's right, the end is in the distant future. So inevitably she was asked, well, how many seasons are there going to be? But of course she said she couldn't answer that question, and fans are just gonna have to wait and see. But she also teases that Filoni and Favreau's plans are changing all the time, so there's a constant creative dialogue happening, but one thing she does know for sure is an ending is coming, and they are actively planning it. Katee was then asked about Season 3 specifically, and she described it as, quote, different. It's the same show that people have come to know and love, but it's a little faster paced while comparing it to a moving train. Here is the full quote. So this season, as you witnessed in the trailer, there are a lot more Mandalorians in this season, and with that many Mandalorians in one room, things are bound to go wrong, so I just can't wait for people to see that. I think this season is different. I think that it is the Mandalorian, it's everything that people have come to know and love about the show, but I do believe that this season is a little faster paced, and I do believe that tonally, it's like a moving train that you just gotta get on. And adding to this sentiment is Pedro Pascal, who in a new interview with Deadline teases the story of Season 3, saying that there will be a number of significant callbacks to Season 1. The Din Djarin actor described the upcoming season as epic, teasing that various themes and ideas were introduced all the way back in the show's first season, and the first thing that came to mind, and big spoiler warning, is IG-11. We know according to Making Star Wars that IG-11 is back. Now we missed him in Season 2, we did have a statue to him in Chapter 12, but in Season 3 he's going to return, and this could be one of the significant callbacks to Season 1. And another thing that springs to mind based on Pedro's comments is a much more Mandalorian-centric season. We're no longer looking for Jedi for Grogu, the subplot is returning to Mandalorian creed and tradition. This is what Pedro said. I mean, it's epic, it's definitely epic, and we're going to get a lot of things that were introduced into the storytelling early in Season 1, themes and ideas you'll remember once we get into the full fruition of Season 3, and it's epic, but I'm not lying, it is epic. The amount of times I say epic gives everything away. Another big theme from Season 1, which I can imagine being explored in the third season, is Din Djarin's backstory, his parents, the Clone Wars, and maybe some surprises about who his parents were. We're returning to the roots of this show, while also expanding on other ideas from the previous 2 seasons, Grogu, Moff Gideon, and so on. Pedro doesn't elaborate on what specific things are going to be expanded upon, but the Mandalorian has always continued to grow, and even in the Book of Boba Fett, it's clear that each outing with Din becomes more and more ambitious. While it's true that Pascal's Mandalorian was much more mysterious in the first season, the second season and the Book of Boba Fett explored the character in a much more significant way, delving into his identity struggles, the relationship with his people, other Mandalorians like the Night Owls, Grogu, the Jedi, Boba Fett, and so on. But what's unique to the first season is the Mandalorian was always more of a lone wolf, he didn't have as many allies, and so he always had to look out for himself. So as I say guys, it remains to be seen how the Mandalorian Season 3 will compare to the other two. But now that the Book of Boba Fett reunited the bounty hunter with Grogu, the two characters will travel the galaxy and to Mandalore as a much more tightly knit team. Now staying on the subject of Pedro Pascal, both he and Rick Famuyiwa sat down with Fandango to discuss the future of the series. When the two were asked about a future Mandalorian movie and if that's in the cards, Pedro says, "I have no idea, you're coming at us hard." So no one really knows, or if they do, they really can't say anything. Now, I think it's safe to say that The Mandalorian changed the streaming game forever. With record viewership and a fresh take on the galaxy far, far away, The Mandalorian saved Star Wars, at least I think so. Now, the other day it was revealed that Stranger Things, which is a huge success on Netflix, is going to become a cinematic universe, transitioning from the small screen to the big screen. And following in that model, following those footsteps, I can definitely see Jon Favreau doing the same thing with The Mandalorian. It could be a phase thing with each one accumulating into a cinematic release. That could be really good for the Star Wars brand long term, because then you have both TV shows for the streaming service, while also keeping Star Wars on the big screen alive, and this way you avoid these massive 5 to 6 year long cinema gaps without any plan. And I really do think this kind of thing could happen for The Mandalorian. And the cinema releases would of course incorporate Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka, Book of Boba, and any future spin-offs as well, and bear in mind, all of these are connected. The Mando-verse, as we like to call it, in my opinion, is the most exciting thing going on for Star Wars right now. 2023 in particular is going to be huge, with 3 outings of Mandalorian content: The Mandalorian Season 3, Ahsoka, and Skeleton Crew. Super exciting stuff, guys. And so finally, an update for LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. All 13 DLC packs, including the new ones, are going to be released on November 1st. While there was a lot of news coming out of D23, LEGO Star Wars fans were likely very pleased to see how the recent entry into the series took part in new reveals. At the convention's gaming panel, it was unveiled that the Skywalker Saga is getting a Galactic Edition. This edition would include a total of 13 DLC packs. The additional content, as I covered, would include most of the additional characters for the game, and these include Star Wars Rebels, Andor, the Book of Boba Fett, the Clone Wars, Kenobi, Summer Vacation, and more. As exciting as it is to have this expansion, it's a shame that none of the additional content includes more story missions of any sort, and a lot of fans have been pointing out the missed opportunities, not to mention they're not dealing with any problems from the first game. One of these being customizable characters, and with customization present in other Traveller Tales titles, the absence in the Skywalker Saga game is especially frustrating. But I guess for now, we're just gonna have to be happy with these DLC packs. So with that said, my dear friends, that brings us to the end of this Star Wars news update. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this one, as always, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, you can find me on Twitter at StarWarsMeg1, and if you want more videos not found here on YouTube, then click the link down there in the description. But until the next one, my dear friends, may the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg. Have a good one.